Newsflash, we are all creative beings, and you don't have to believe yet that you're creative, because that's why you're here. And I'm gonna help you. This is Tina with Overall Adventures. Thank you for joining me. Step 1. Creativity isn't like bullet points, okay guys? But for organization purposes, I'm gonna give you a little rundown. Acknowledge your fears. Acknowledge your doubts. Acknowledge the voice in your head. 4 common reasons why we, in general, don't want to do creative projects or even sit down just to color in a coloring book. And I challenge you, which one is you? 1 is a comparison trap, so comparing ourselves to other people. Do you compare yourselves to famous artists? Do you compare yourselves to famous musicians? Is that why you're afraid to start? The reason is often that we don't feel worthy of making something. Are you the type of person who's like, I'm not good enough, no one will care about what I make? It doesn't matter in the world. Fear of failure. Are you afraid that before you even start, that it's not going to be good enough? Are you afraid that it's just going to suck? So is that why you don't want to start? I don't have any ideas. I have no inspiration. I sit down and I'm just stuck. Perfectionism. So do you not start because you're just afraid that it's never going to be as perfect as you have in your head? Newsflash. All artists struggle with these fears. Every day. Every day. They just practice overcoming them. They practice throwing them out the window every day. It's not so much a practice of like learning how to draw well. Yes, that's like really important. Technique is really important. But when we say practice, oh, do you have a yoga practice? Do you have a drawing practice? Do you have a writing practice? It's not so much about the actual technique, because that will come. It's more about practicing overcoming those fears. I'm not worthy. I'm gonna fail. Everyone else is better than me. No one's gonna care about this. It's practice overcoming that voice. Acknowledge the voice and recognize that all artists have this. All artists struggle with this every day. What did you do as a child that brought you joy? We are all creative beings, and as children, we weren't afraid of judgment. We weren't afraid of other people being better than us. We weren't afraid of failing. We weren't afraid of perfection. We just made things. What did you make as a kid? Start with curiosity. Ask yourself, what am I curious about? What excites me? What is that tiny voice inside me saying, I've always wanted to try this? Is it drawing? Is it like just rubbing paint through your fingers? Is it getting in the mud? Just ask yourself those questions and see, and be patient. So once you find your thing, whatever that thing is that your little voice is telling you, once you pick it, start small. So let's say you want to write a book one day. Don't just give yourself the task of writing a book. You've never written a book. Write a poem. Write 2 lines of a poem. Something small. Don't give yourself a huge task. Otherwise, again, you'll give yourself reason to fail. Do this alone. This moment of creativity is for you and you alone. You don't need external validation. You don't need to put it on social media. You don't need anyone else telling you that it's good or that it's bad. Tuck it away in a drawer. Keep it safe. Keep it quiet. Keep it just for you right now. Creativity is vulnerability. Making something from nothing is vulnerable, is coming from you and your spirit. So be gentle with it.
You changed and I don't know what to do to get through. I don't know what to do.
Turn it into a manageable practice. Now that doesn't mean, again, writing for an hour a day if you've never written before. If you want to paint or if you want to draw, do a tiny little doodle once a day. Just show up. And remember, though, that the practice isn't about getting better as an illustrator or as a writer. The practice is overcoming the fear of starting. That's what you're practicing every day. That's what you're going for. When all else fails, if you're down, but still want to push yourself to make, cook. This has been my saving grace this year. I wish I would have known this earlier. But if I feel like I need to create and I have that urge, but I hate everything I'm making, or if I'm lazy, or if I'm tired, if I'm cold, if I'm hot, if I'm whiny, if I'm whatever excuse I can find, I'll cook. because cooking is the most primal way of creation. Taking all these bits and pieces of nothing and putting them together and making a bigger whole. And that's creating. That's it. And with cooking, you get to eat it and maybe share it with some people around you. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Tina with Overall Adventures. I'm just charged up by talking about this, so I know that you'll feel that, and I wish you a creative day. And I know that you can do this. Absolutely. Just start tiny. Low expectations. Don't compare yourselves to the Picassos of the world. You are you, and you have something that no one has, and there is enough to go around. There is plenty, there is abundance in this world, and there is no way that we're going to tap out of that. It's everlasting. So thank you so much for joining me. My name is Tina with Overall Adventures. I wish you a creative day. Peace.